טוב, בשעה טובה ומזלה יהיה. Okay, so Be'ezrat Hashem, today we're going to discuss about the introduction of Shir Hashirim. So, first of all, we need to know that every Chacham, every Rabbi, every Rishon that wrote on Shir Hashirim has the same type of introduction, saying that Shir Hashirim is a book that is impossible to understand in Pshat. There is no factual explanation to Shir Hashirim. It's asur to read Shir Hashirim factually and believe that whatever is written is exactly what it means. So everyone tried to adapt a pirush from different angles. The midrashim are very, very rich. There's a lot of midrashim. So if you follow the midrashim, sometimes you can get lost because midrashim are written by different Amoraim and Tanaim that probably gave their pirush of their midrash on a certain pasuk based on their own understanding of the facet or their own angle in Shir Hashirim. So we have to go quite slowly. And there's one thing that we cannot do when we're going to learn Shir Hashirim is to jump from one mefaresh to another, from one commentator to another. We can't. Because then it's not giving the proper value to the pirush we're going to be learning, to what we're going to be learning. There are, essentially, we have four commentators that we were going to be basing ourselves on because there is a common root, a common denominator between all four. So the first one is Rashi. Obviously, Rashi is, you cannot go around Rashi. And Rashi, in his introduction of Shir Hashirim, as all the Mefarshim, he explains that a lot of ways to explain Shir Hashirim, and it's very complicated. But at the end, he says the reason why Shir Hashirim was written. Extremely important to put in perspective the reason behind the writings of Shir Hashirim. So Rashi says that Shlomo HaMelech saw in Ruach HaKodesh that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will destroy the temples and he will exile Am Yisrael. And there will be destruction after destruction, exile after exile, to the point where the Bnei Israel will be so weared off from the distress and the pain of the exile that it will be easy for them to forget about Hashem. It will be almost natural to just let go. Hashem forgot us 2,000 years ago. So according to Rashi, Shlomo HaMelech is talking to our generations. Generations of assimilation, generations of complete disconnection, generations where the intellect can override any level of emunah, any argument of emunah. And in order to reinstate and reinforce the unwavering connection there is between Hashem and Am Yisrael, he wrote Shir Hashirim. So Shir Hashirim, if you will, according the way, and it's basically everybody, but from different angles, but according to Rashi, it's a message to humanity, a message to Am Yisrael throughout the generations, showing them and reinforcing the idea that Hashem loves us and Hashem cares for us, and we cannot, although He left us, but He didn't leave us forever. He still loves us. So it's a rebirth of a relationship with Hashem that is based on love, not on fear, not on based on desires or expectations, based on love. And what's important to state here, and when I say it, every time I speak about this, it moves me. This is not the definition of love that we have. This is the definition of love of Shlomo HaMelech. This is Shlomo HaMelech talking and telling us this is the love Hashem has for us. So it's extremely important to understand that dimension. It's not anybody who speaks right now about a relationship with Hashem and let's have emunah and put tefillin and eat kosher. No. This is a real testimony of an intimate relationship Shlomo HaMelech had with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is related to every Jew throughout history. It's a masterpiece, a crazy masterpiece that a person can connect to, can emulate at his own level, and bond with Hashem to such a true way, that he can feel Hashem even in his distance. So it's very, very, very important to put the magnitude, to understand the magnitude of that sefer, of these writings. And let's not forget that we're talking about the Shlomo HaMelech that had also a relationship with Hashem on a level of prophecy. So now it's no longer, and we're going to see in the Akdama of the Malbim soon, it's no longer the peripety, the tribulation that Shlomo HaMelech went through his life and with himself. It's after he's past that, and he's craving the relationship with Hashem. It's the boomerang effect. He tried to go all the way to the left, experienced it, understood it, and now his neshama is craving for the rebirth, the reconnection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the highest level possible. It's Shir Hashirim. It's Shir Hashirim. Shir Hashirim was written after Kohelet in order to express that you can go all the way down. You can experience all the pleasures in the world. At the end, you're going to crave Hashem so much. This is the experience you want. This is the connection you want. So this is Rashi.
So this is written. Is this the last sefer that Shlomo HaMelech wrote in his life?
I'm sorry?
Is this the last book that he wrote? Shlomo?
According to the Malbim, yes. According to some Mefarshim, no, because he also wrote Mishle after that. So again, according to the Malbim, black on white. Again, let's not forget that some hold that Kohelet was the last sefer he wrote.
Right. Yeah. No, I think the question I'm really getting to is for something for one of his writings to come after Kohelet, right? Which is kind of the meaning of life, if you will, right? It just shows you the importance of just the concept of love for Hashem, which is probably one of the hardest mitzvot to keep in the Torah.
Absolutely.
Because you can't manufacture it, right? You can't just manufacture love.
Correct. So I want to read the Lashon of Rashi. Rashi something different. He says, לזכור חיבה ראשונה אשר היו סגולה לו מכל העמים לאמור אליך ואשובה אל אישי הראשון ויזכור את חסדיו ואת מעליו אשר מעלו את הטובות אשר אמר לתת להם באחרית הימים. He's saying there is an interaction between Shlomo HaMelech is giving an interaction between Hashem and between Am Yisrael, and is reassuring us that although he left us, his love and his dedication to us is there and forever. Based on the first connection he had with Am Yisrael when he took us out of Egypt. So this is the Even Pinah. This is the point of reference Hashem has to appease us, to convince us, to comfort us that his love is forever and will never change. Point of reference, very important point of reference. Okay. So again, according to Rashi, Shir Hashirim is a sefer that reassures the love of Hashem for Am Yisrael and the relationship Am Yisrael has with Hashem. Again, like I said, to the standard of Shlomo HaMelech, not to our standard of and definition of love, but to the definition and the standard of Shlomo HaMelech. Then we have another pirush, which will be probably the pirush we will be focusing on the most, is the pirush of the Malbim. According to the Malbim, Shlomo HaMelech wrote his different experiences he had with HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a prophet. And he takes Shir Hashirim and breaks it into five portions, and each one is the challenges that he had to overcome physically in order for Hashem to reveal himself to him. So it's referring to the inner battle Shlomo had with his Yetzer Hara, the inner battle he had with his nature, and the glimpse of clarity he got, and what that yielded in terms of ruchaniyut, in terms of spirituality. and basically all Shir Hashirim is the fight between the neshama and the body. The neshama that wants a connection with Hashem.
Of Shlomo HaMelech.
Yes, of Shlomo HaMelech, but is obviously a point of reference to every individual. So we will see the interaction, the back and forth between the neshama and the body. What the body does to make sure the neshama, instinctively to make sure that the neshama doesn't connect so much or at all. How the neshama tricks the body. And the benefit the neshama gets when it connects to a source of kedusha, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's according to the Malbim. Very structured, very organized. I'm sorry?
Isn't that going to be really difficult for us to understand since we're not a prophet?
No, the prophecy, Tzaddik, the prophecy is just that is what the Kadosh Baruch Hu decided to give to Shlomo HaMelech, right? You can be ready for prophecy. That doesn't mean you're a prophet. Most of Shir Hashirim is the challenges the neshama had with the body, which is extremely apropos. Then we have the Pirush of the Gaon Vilna. So the Gaon Vilna refers to Shir Hashirim as the interaction between, again, like Rashi, between HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a king and Am Yisrael as its beloved one. And how they tie their connection in a hidden way. Again, very similar to Rashi, with some differences, obviously, but this is the idea. And the fourth pirush that we're going to be learning is a pirush of the Seforno. And the Seforno says it's the relationship between two lovers, and the lady has been taken from her lover. And this is more of an intimate relationship, more emotional relationship, more of a human connection that Shlomo HaMelech expresses based on something that he craved. There was a lady that was married to a shepherd in the desert, and Shlomo HaMelech couldn't get his mind off this lady. He had all the ladies in the world, but she was so beautiful that he couldn't let go of that lady. So he summoned her to marry her. And Shlomo HaMelech writes all this turbulent relationship he has with her while she's in love with her husband, with her former husband. And he says that this entire issue comes from the lack of control of desires. So Shlomo HaMelech is writing Shir Hashirim. So you have to go?
No, Moses is here. He's early.
So he says that all these turbulences are the fruit of the lack of control of desires. To the point where you think you can have everything, but there's only one thing that you cannot have that will drive you crazy. Almost like Haman. He had all the kavod, he had all the respect, all the power. Mordechai, that doesn't bow in front of him, that's it. He lost everything. So here, he wants to compare that relationship or that situation to the relationship that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has with Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael is stuck amongst the Goyim. So the Goyim is like the king that rules over Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael has this relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a very hidden way. Because of what? Because of the power and the control the Goyim have through their kingdom, which is what? Which is the kingdom of Olam Hazeh, the kingdom of the lack of midah, the lack of parties, what we call today parties, clubs, restaurants, nonsense. So Shlomo HaMelech brings. Okay, so we have those four different facets. There's some nuances to each, but all of them converge towards the same shoresh, the same root, the same center, focal point, which is the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael, between man and Hashem, and all the challenges in between. The purpose of that, we explained, and this is Rashi, to reinforce our awareness of Hashem's love for us and dedication to us. Good? So there is a machloket. There's an echo somewhere. There is a machloket between Tanaim, between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Rabbi Akiva says there wasn't a happier day to Am Yisrael than the day that Shir Hashirim was released to the world. Because all the writings are Kodesh. But Shir Hashirim is Kodesh Kodashim, the holiest of holies. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, I disagree with the dimension you're giving to Shir Hashirim. It is true that it's Kodesh Kodashim, but not to all the writings, but to all the songs of Shlomo HaMelech. From all the songs Shlomo HaMelech wrote, 1,005 songs, that one is the Kodesh Kodashim, is the holiest of holies. So, first of all, we have to understand what Kodesh means. What does Kadosh, holy, means? Because this is the beginning of, this is the way it's presented. It's Kodesh Kodashim. So the Lashon Kadosh, the word holy in Hebrew, Kadosh, the Tosfot in Masechet Kiddushin, in the tractate of Kiddushin, Daf Bet Amud Bet, Tosfot said Kadosh milashon hafrasha. Kadosh means to be separated from, to be differentiated from. When you are mekadesh a woman, when you marry, right? Milashon Kiddushin, Zerashon Kadosh. When you make a woman holy, what does that mean to be holy? Is to separate the woman from the rest of the world. She becomes exclusive. It's an exclusivity to her husband, which in turn makes her asur to everybody else. Something that is holy, something that's exclusive, something that is not mundane. The generality is mundanity. When someone is holy, he separates himself from the rest. This is the definition of kadosh. Am Israel is kadosh because we are different than the Goyim. Yerushalayim HaKodesh because Yerushalayim is different. The Bet HaMikdash because it's a differentiation in status from the rest. This is the basic definition of kadosh. So it's a separation in order to create a union, right? The woman separates herself from the rest of the world in order to unite with her husband. Eretz Israel separates itself from the rest of the world in order to connect with Am Israel. Am Israel separates itself from the rest of the world to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Kohen Gadol enters the Kodesh HaKodashim to separate himself from Am Israel, from the Kohanim, to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu again. So the definition of Kadosh, when you say this rabbi is Kadosh, or this place is holy, what we're saying is that it's a place of connection based on an exclusivity. Good? When we say Kodesh Kodashim, Kol HaKetuvim Kodesh, all the writings are holy, in a sense, are written to create a connection between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the writings, through the Nevi'im, through the Ketuvim, Melachim. You read Yeshaya, you connect to Hashem. You read the Zechariah, you connect to Hashem. Amos, you connect to Hashem. Triasa, you connect. All the Sefarim, you read Tehillim, you connect to Hashem. It's a way to disconnect from the mundane perspective of life, from a general brainstorming with the world. And by detaching yourself with them, you connect with the book. That connection opens a pipeline to elevate yourself and reinforce your connection with Hashem. This is Kol HaKetuvim Kodesh. However, Shir Hashirim, Kodesh Kodashim, says Rabbi Akiva. What does that mean? It means that the ability to bond and connect is exponential. When you say Kodesh Kodashim, it's not twice Kodesh. It's Kodesh within Kodesh. So there is an exponential koach to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which explains now the depth of what Rashi says and the depth of the Mefarashim, the commentators that we addressed earlier. That this is the ability, this is the way to rebuild your connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu at times where you think there's none. It's a supercharged connection and vector to Hashem that is based on what? Is based on love. And what is the structure that leads to that love? It's called the Shira, the singing. Shlomo HaMelech did not choose verbs. He didn't choose meshalim. He chose the Shira, the song. The song, by definition, what is a song? A song, and we're not talking about somebody that sings someone else's song. A person that writes his own song is a person that has the ability to put words into an emotional experience that is so deep, that it completely disconnects himself from all the heaviness of the body. When a person writes a song, the person zooms in on emotion, understands that emotion perfectly to the point where he can hear a melody in this emotion. And again, it's an emotion, it's an experience. Crystallize it in the intellect, understand it, and word it. This is a shir. So when somebody writes a song, and obviously we're not talking about the songs of the street. When somebody writes a song, this is what he's going through. And here, we're not talking about the shir, we're talking about Shir Hashirim, the song of songs. Meaning, Shlomo HaMelech wrote a lot of songs. That means he had 1,005 experiences where he was able to do what we just said. He took all these songs, all these emotions, all these situations, these experiences, and wrote a song from that. So that gives us the level of depth and the level of connection Shlomo HaMelech had with himself and with HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he wrote Shir Hashirim. This is Lekule Alma, meaning according to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, according to Rabbi Akiva, Kal Vachomer, this is the depth of the connection of Shir Hashirim. It's just that Rabbi Akiva took it to a complete different magnitude. So, when we approach Shir Hashirim, we have to understand that we're touching a lot of points. We're touching the combination of a lot of different experiences. We're touching a vibrant emotional connection with himself. We're touching the ability to understand that emotion clearly, and finally verbalize it. You know, we're saying things, but if you understand what we're saying, now the reason it says Shir Hashirim in masculine, and not Shira is because we're talking, it's Shelomo, who is a masculine, who is, and we're going to dive into it a little deeper, Ezrat Hashem, who is trying to tap into what is called Mayim Drechurim. Mayim Drechurim is a concept that I need to explain next year, because I think you guys have to run to Shacharit soon. But there is two channels of connection, right? What are we talking about here? We're talking about a connection, an exclusive relationship and connection between Shlomo HaMelech and Hashem. There is two channels of connecting. One, you connect by elevating from things from low to high, and it's called the female waters. It's a concept in Kabbalah. And then you have another connection, which is taking down from Shefa, taking the Beracha from top to bottom, bringing down the Shefa, bringing down the abundance, which is called Mayim Dechurim, the male waters. Shlomo HaMelech here is talking about Shir, not Shira. The Zohar Kadosh says every time there is Shira, you elevate. For example, and that's beautiful, that's sweet, because it's Va'et Hanan. Right? We just read Va'et Hanan this week, right? Va'et Hanan, we know is Gematria 515. Right? Shira 515. The Zohar Kadosh says that Moshe Rabbeinu, why did he say, why is Va'et Hanan is Shira, not Shir? It's because he understood that in order to bring down, you need to pray. Before you bring down the Shefa, you have to elevate it. Right? And I'm sure, that's based on the fundamentals. But here, what Shlomo HaMelech is doing when he says Shir is that he's tapping into the Shefa of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and bringing it down. This is why it says Shir and not Shira. Shir is masculine, not feminine. Asher li Shlomo. We will continue later. You guys have to go to Shahar.
Rav, I love you. So happy to be back.
Thank you, Rav.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
Thank you.
Moses is saying hello, Rav.
Send him my love. I only see the tefillin.
Rabbi!